Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where today I want to talk a little bit about all the latest news to do with Doctor Who, and boy oh boy is there a lot of news. We've got a brand new interview and a clip from Gatwa, some new trailers for BBC for the new series, and a boatload of previews from Doctor Who magazine and the announcement of a new Doctor Who channel. All that and more coming up. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. I had a bit of drama in yesterday's video. Obviously, I responded to a certain YouTuber, and he then deleted the video, but he was a bit of an arsehole about it. So my video will stay up because, to be honest, I stand by everything I said in that video, and how people interpret his own words are on him. But that's all I'm going to say on that. But let's just get right into it. First of all, we had the Gatwa interview with Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show. Now, of course, for obvious reasons, I'm not going to cover this whole interview because if I did, I would definitely get copyright strike. But what I will say is this is a really fun interview. They mention a lot of different things, including him being on the set of Barbie when he found out he was the Doctor, and also the fact that his phone screen is still Ryan Gosling wearing that Doctor t-shirt as well, which is really, really funny. He also talks about how him and Millie would do Kourtney Kardashian impressions on the set of Doctor Who. And yeah, it's just a really fun interview. I also love as well how Gatwa is very much channeling John Pertwee with this outfit. I mean, look at the frills. I love that. What an outfit. Really good outfit. I want to see that in the show. But anyway, yeah, it's a good interview. But the thing that we want to look at that came out of it was, in fact, this clip, a brand new clip from Lux, which actually caused a bit of discourse, and I'm going to tell you why and my thoughts on the matter. So yeah, it's essentially a very similar scene to the scene in Devil's Court, where they're getting changed for a brand new adventure. I really like the scene, but of course, the discourse came from the fact that these scenes were similar. And a lot of people are saying, oh, it's just Russell repeating himself again, it's just repeated ideas. And I'm like, guys, it's a callback. Like, it's obviously a deliberate callback to show the symmetry between the travels of Ruby and the travels of Belinda and how they differ and how they're similar. Like, that's obviously the case. And, I mean, if you honestly look at this and think, oh, he's just repeating his ideas, then I guess every time the 10th Doctor said what, he was repeating an idea. Or that one time where the 10th Doctor goes back to New Earth with Martha in Series 3 is just repeating ideas, and he's clearly lost it. Or the fact that Cassandra comes back in Series 2 means he's out of ideas. Like, I don't want to sound mean, but this is obviously an intentional callback, and I've seen some people say that, oh, maybe they just weren't aware of how similar it was. Like, of course they are. It's obviously intentional. I'm all for criticism of any era of Doctor Who. I'd be a hypocrite if I wasn't, but I've found so much of the criticism of this era recently to be so lacking, to be frank. It's like, guys, it's obviously a callback. Am I crazy? But we also had some brand new trailers. Now, I want to give thanks to Matthew Purchase, who posted these onto Twitter. I did click the BBC link to these, but I couldn't get them to load for some reason when I tried it. So we're going to have to use the Twitter versions, which do have some glitching, but bear in mind that that's not supposed to be there. That's just due to them being re-uploaded onto Twitter. So just bear that in mind, but you'll get the gist anyway. They're only like a few seconds long. So here's the first one.
Hold on tight.
I'm not going to beat around the bush here. You are both garbage.
Ah! Belinda!
Doctor Who. Watch from Saturday, 12th of April.
So it's them dropping into The Apprentice, obviously. And if you don't know much about me, I love The Apprentice. It's my favourite bit of trash TV. I watch it every week, and in fact, it's on tonight. I love the world of, like, business. I just find it really fascinating. And I love seeing how incompetent they are. But anyway, I think this is a really cool initiative, and there's a couple more of these as well. But I do think that, unfortunately, a few bad actors are going to use this one bit of Alan Sugar saying that they're garbage in YouTube videos. Like, I can already see the Nerdrotic video now with this in it, even though it's the entire point of the show. It's the entire point of The Apprentice that he calls them all garbage. Like, that's the joke that they're doing here. But anyway, that wasn't the only one we got. We got this one.
This might be the long way round. Hold on tight.
For you, Pat. Get out of my pub right now!
I'm not going anywhere.
I said go out!
Doctor Who.
So this time Doctor Who lands in EastEnders, and they are right in the middle of, if you're not in the UK you probably won't know, but it's an incredibly iconic confrontation between these two characters that has been kind of talked about for years. And yeah, again, really cool. And obviously many people have pointed out that this is not the first time Doctor Who has crossed over with EastEnders. Of course, those long-term fans will remember Dimensions in Time. So I wasn't expecting to get a Dimensions in Time sequel in the year of our Lord 2025, but here we are. Very fun nonetheless though. And then the final one.
This might be the long way round. Hold on tight.
There's a big gap to close. Joe really wrapping around the bend. The wall has barely closed the wall.
So they land in the middle of Gladiators, they sigh, and then they leave.
It's getting a little bit closer now.
Doctor Who. Watch from Saturday, 12th of April.
I really like these. They're really fun, really simple. I think this is good marketing. I saw a lot of people say that maybe this is pointing to the rumour that this series takes place with inside a TV show. The reason why I don't think this is necessarily evidence of that is because they did similar things to this last year, where they had the Doctor on Match of the Day as well. So I don't necessarily think that's proof of that theory. However, it's a very cool marketing strategy nonetheless. It'd be cool if Disney did these as well. Like, imagine if they landed in, like, Andor, and Verada Sethu noticed her character from Andor and kind of went, hey, you look familiar, like, you know, something like that. I think that would be very fun. Or the Doctor being sentenced by the TVA or something. I think that's what you could do with that. But nonetheless, these are really cool. And again, it shows a level of BBC kind of investment and confidence as well, which is nice to see. But getting on to Doctor Who magazine, we had 3 massive previews for the first 3 episodes of Doctor Who Season 2. But before then, I wanted to tell you about what Doctor Who magazine came with, because there's some really cool stuff. So obviously, I'm a subscriber to Doctor Who magazine, and you get extra benefits. And there's a couple of different things. One is unrelated to the current series, but it's a book of production notes on Doctor Who Series 1 from 2005, obviously celebrating the fact that 20 years have passed from that. I feel like I'm on QVC. Next we have this, which is the Star Certificate, which says Miss Belinda Chandra on it, and this is going to become very important for reasons that will become clear in a second. And then finally we have this, which is probably my personal favourite. It's a poster of Mr. Ring-a-Ding done in the style of like those early Walt Disney kind of cartoons where it's kind of showing their face at the beginning and it's saying a Mr. Ring-a-Ding cartoon. I think it's really cool. I probably will put this up on my wall somewhere because I think it's really neat. But getting into the article, Doctor Who first 3 Season 2 episodes previewed. Yeah, I'm using Cult Box's coverage for this, but this does come from Doctor Who magazine originally. Doctor Who magazine 615 shared a preview of the first 3 Doctor Who Season 2 episodes, The Robot Revolution, Lux and The Well. What follows are summaries of what was revealed. Mrs. Flood, Anita Dobson, appears in every Season 2 episode, according to Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies in SFX magazine. So this is actually something that I wasn't going to cover yet. I was maybe going to save that for tomorrow, but seeing as it's here, I might as well mention it. Yeah, Russell T Davies said in SFX magazine that, much like in Season 1 with Susan Triad in Season 2, Mrs. Flood appears in every single one of the Doctor and Belinda's adventures, which is interesting. Now, I do think, again, that that's intentional and we're supposed to draw that connection. If it is the case that that happens with nothing mentioned of how like weirdly similar that is, that 2 old women are in every episode, then yeah, I will think that that's a bit lazy and a bit odd. But I do think that that's intentional and that's part of a wider plot. But anyway, getting into the previews. Episode 1, The Robot Revolution. Written by Russell T Davies. Directed by Peter Hall, who is also the director for A Good Man Goes to War as well, so he's got a good lineage. Under a Starlit Sky, 2 teenage sweethearts share a moment. Alan Daniel Budd, played by Johnny Green, presents Belinda Chandra Verada Sethu with a certificate stating that he named a star in her honour, Miss Belinda Chandra. So essentially what this is basically like, do you remember that scam that was going around a while ago? Like, it was a YouTube sponsorship for a while, but then it was revealed to be a scam. It was called like Established Titles or something. I don't want to get sued, but the basic premise was that like you would buy a bit of Scottish land and then be made lord of said land, but apparently it wasn't actually true or something. I don't know the full details, but basically this is a play on that, where you buy or purchase the name of a star and then it becomes your star. And of course, that's not meant to mean much, but thousands of years in the future, robots find it and realise that Miss Belinda Chandra is the name of the star. 17 years later, Belinda is working the night shift as a nurse at London's Able Free Hospital. Later in the very early morning, robots, voiced by Nicholas Briggs, smash their way into her London home. They're from planet Miss Belinda Chandra 1, and they want their queen back. The cast of The Robot Revolution are Ncuti Gatwa, Varda Sethu, Johnny Green, Evelyn Miller, Max Parker, Nadine Higgin, Caleb Hughes, William Ellis, Jeffin Kunjuman, Belinda Oswanu, and Anita Dobson. I hope I'm saying those names right. If I'm not, I apologise. Belinda is taken away in the robot's rocket. The robots are waging war against the human Miss Belinda Chandra kind. The Miss Belinda Chandra bots serve a single master. That's very hard to say. The AI generator, a being of immense processing power and zero patience. Dare to disagree and you're fried to a crisp. It gets worse, the AI generator wants to marry Belinda. Can the Doctor and Ncuti Gatwa rescue Her Majesty Queen Belinda and quash the robot revolution? So yeah, the thing I like about this one is that it feels very kind of 70s Doctor Who comic strip vibe, which is not a negative. I actually really like that as the vibe you could go for a first episode. Obviously as well, we're going to get commentary on AI as well and all of that sort of stuff, whilst blending that with a very kind of retro-futuristic visual language. I think this looks really fun. I definitely think this first episode is going to be received better than Space Babies was last year. I'm not expecting it to enter like the top 10 episodes of all time or anything, but I think this will be a solid start to the series by the looks of things. It looks very fun. And one thing I thought was very interesting in Russell's coverage of this episode is that he said that because Belinda can't get home, the challenge there was making episodes that involved basically no modern day Earth, because they can't go back to modern day Earth, otherwise she can go home. Which to me was a huge sigh of relief as someone who has often bemoaned the constant presence of modern day Earth in current Doctor Who. I understand that it's a budgetary thing, but I think now that we've got this Disney budget, I'm glad that we're kind of broadening our horizons a little bit. Episode 2, Lux, written by Russell T Davies, directed by Amanda Brocci. Miami, 1952, the Doctor and Belinda investigate the disappearance of 15 people from the Palazzo Picture Palace Cinema. They encounter cartoon character Mr. Ringading, voiced by Alan Cumming, doing an American accent, a sinister, wisecracking new enemy who isn't as two-dimensional as he first appears. The cast for Lux are Ncuti Gatwa, Varda Sethu, Alan Cumming, Linus Roche, Lucy Thackeray, Lewis Corney, and Anita Dobson. Linus Roche guest stars as Reginald Pye, and Reginald Pye, I guess, is the owner of the cinema, judging by this picture from Doctor Who magazine. And Lux also features hand-drawn, frame-by-frame animation by Framestone. So that was something really interesting about this as well, is that Russell said that they didn't do the animation on the cheap, and they got a whole animation studio to do all the animation for this, and he said that one of the things he wanted to do was really replicate the 1930s rubber house style, or more commonly these days probably known as the Cuphead style, because he always thought that that kind of animation looked a little bit unsettling and a little bit odd, and he thought that was perfect for a Doctor Who story. And he said that he's wanted to do a story involving cartoons for a while, but didn't have the budget to pull it off effectively, so he saved it for this series, which, yeah, it's a good idea. And there's also a really cool comic in Doctor Who magazine which features a Mr. Ringading story with his girlfriend, Sunshine Sally. Really, really fun stuff, really, really cute. And I'm very curious to see how this episode turns out. If it turns out well, it could be a new favourite of mine, and I especially love the visuals of it. I think this could probably end up being one of the nicest looking episodes, at least visually, we've probably ever had. And then episode 3 is The Well, written by Russell T Davies and Sharma Angel Wolfall, directed once again by Amanda Brocci. Stranded on the inhospitable planet 6767, the Doctor and Belinda team up with a platoon of troopers who have been sent to investigate Colony Base 15, a mining operation that they've lost contact with. Arriving at the installation, they soon discover something is very wrong indeed, and that something soon reveals itself to be at the heart of the Doctor's worst nightmares. So yeah, as you can kind of tell by the bottom part of that, the main thing that they emphasised in this section of the magazine was this is the scary episode. This is the one that is meant to be kind of your classic Doctor Who horror piece, which I'm very much looking forward to. As someone who felt that was kind of lacking last year, so to have something like this in episode 3 is very welcome. You know, we got a mining base, something's gone wrong, there's dark secrets, this is a very, very classic Doctor Who, and I mean that in the best possible way. The cast for The Well are Ncuti Gatwa, Varda Sethu, Rose Ayling-Ellis, Keo Lifion-June, I hope I'm saying that right, Christopher Chung, Annabelle Brooke, Bayagi Demba, and Anita Dobson. Rose Ayling-Ellis stars as Alice Fenley, a young mother in a perilous situation. She's desperate to get home to her 2-year-old daughter. The Doctor is able to communicate in sign language with Alice, who is deaf. The troopers communicate with Alice via holographic subtitles. The troopers don't understand sign language and don't always use their holographic translators, making a tense situation worse with a breakdown in communication and trust. I really like this idea a whole lot. The idea of incorporating a blind actress but then using sign language as part of the plot by having it be that they have these translators that automatically translate the sign language for them, but of course in tense situations they could begin to malfunction, leading to a breakdown in communication and making the situation even worse. I think that's a really cool idea, and I genuinely think this could be one of my favourites of this series because it just feels very kind of Midnight-esque, is kind of my feeling towards this, from everything I've read as well, which I'm very, very much in favour of. Christopher Chung guest stars as Cassio Pauline, second in command of a platoon of troopers who has an insubordinate streak and a fractious relationship with platoon leader Shea. His priority is conflict with the Doctors. And that's another thing that I'm really looking forward to in this series that we seem to be seeing a lot more of, conflict. I want to see people disagree with the Doctor. I want to see the Doctor get more annoyed, and it looks like we're getting more of that in this series, which again, I'm very, very much on board with. Something else I found interesting in the Doctor magazine coverage is that the character wasn't actually written as a blind character, but when they cast Rosie and Alice, they rewrote the script to accommodate that and add it to part of the plot, which I thought was a really, really good way of handling it. You know, writing it as just any other character, but then adding in those bits of world building to make it feel organic. I think that's really, really cool. This is not related to the new series, but I wanted to cover this. We're getting Big Finish novelizations, thanks to Agnell for posting this on Twitter, but we are getting 2 Big Finish novelizations, both written by Robert Shearman. We're getting The Chimes of Midnight and Jubilee, which are coming out in October. Very, very exciting. Not much more to say other than I think this is really cool, and I probably will pick both of these up because these are 2 of the best Big Finish stories, and I would definitely read a book adaptation of them. Finally though, I want to talk about this a little bit because I think it's really cool. BBC Studios, the commercial arm of the BBC, have teamed up with LG to launch a range of new fast channels on LG TVs across Europe and the Nordics, excluding the UK, with their most successful and watched shows. Doctor Who and Top Gear get their own dedicated channel, with other channels including BBC Drama, BBC Food, BBC Travel and BBC History. So yeah, very interesting. We're getting a Doctor Who dedicated channel only for LG TVs and in Europe and the Nordics, but still a very, very cool initiative. I hope that one day this can make its way over to the UK. But even if it doesn't, I think this is a cool initiative. And I think it just shows that their relative confidence in Doctor Who, that they still see Doctor Who as a big enough IP, as a big enough franchise, a big enough brand to get its own channel alongside Top Gear, which of course is no longer running, but there's a lot of Top Gear, and Top Gear still remains very popular. They still make a bundle on Top Gear DVDs. Stuff like this to me is further indication that unless something horrific happens, I don't think the show's going anywhere, even if Disney pull out. But hey, I could be wrong. But that about wraps up this video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you later.